All right. Well, good morning. I'm back. I wanna play the audio. I wanna play the audio just to make sure. What I just heard. Oh, it's the just to make sure you know what I'm talking about. But it is something that's been circulating for I don't know a long time, obviously. But I've seen it in YouTube for like I don't know. It's like well, I've seen people hinting at it, mentioning at it like oh, you know, black people is the devil. Oh my god, I'm like I'm going in circles here. I'm trying just checking the sound because it happened to me that
Here, I'm trying to just check.
yes, my lovely voice. Yes, it got sound. So let's listen to him, and I'm gonna be commenting on what he's saying. But like I say,
Sintex.
oh,
He is a legend up in the church.
are you serious? Oh, yes. I know what happened. Oh gosh, I had it
You
queued
know,
up.
it's just I'm talking fast. Like yeah, you and your this is the uniform that you have to work at the movie theater, right? Now,
But first of all, I mean, like,
we were sleeping with Neanderthals. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah, okay.
You see all the
That's
Moorish
enough.
paintings. Look at Orientalism. Google Orientalism on Google, and you'll pull up an era of art that shows us as the Moors. And a lot of those paintings have us selling Caucasian women in as harem. We give them to the black woman, have the black woman clean them all up, make them all fresh, right, and clean. They become concubines and sex slaves and everything like that, right? And they have babies. And you think when this white baby come up and find out we've been hoeing their mama, they don't got no spite in their heart, right? So I'm gonna acknowledge a brother named Blackbeard, because this is information that I've known for some time. There's a brother named Blackbeard. He's a beast. He got it all figured out. I got another couple other brothers that have been telling me about this too this year and showing me documentation, everything blew my mind. I already knew, you know what I'm saying? But it's always good when you have hard evidence, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we fought amongst ourselves. The American Revolution was us. It was Black Britons versus Black revolutionary colonialists versus Black indigenous people on the land. That was us. That was us fighting each other. Why do you think the musical Hamilton on Disney Plus is multicultural? Alan Burr's black up in there. George Washington is mixed in that musical. They're rapping. The whole fucking musical is a rap, a hip hopper. Because they try to show you, listen, this is y'all. This is why Caucasians are relentless right now. Because they like never again. You know, are they, maleficent? You know what I'm saying? Are they malicious? Yeah, it's a lot of dark shit, demonic stuff going on. But hey, bro, like we brought this on ourselves, man. We did this. We created them. You know what I'm saying? We started raising them up. They were slaves first. The white men were slaves, and we would take them in and then start teaching them how to fight. And then what we did is we sent them out to fight our wars for them while we stayed in the cut. So we want to talk about Illuminati, right? We think Illuminati is Rothschilds and Bilderberg and all that. Who you think behind them? Yeah, watch. You're gonna go to the top of the ladder. You're gonna find people that look like us is running all of this shit, and you're gonna be like, what the? Who you think coming off them ships? Y'all love talking about so much. Who you think they look like? You and me, huh? You telling me there's no hierarchy in your family where you got uncles and big brothers and sisters and aunts and where people are like, I'm better than them because they got this job or they look a certain way. There's a hierarchy in your family. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing in ours, bro. So we're the reason why we're in this situation. You know what I mean? You can't blame it on Jesus. You can't blame it on the white man. White folks is they're just like, I'm not giving up the spot. You know, you quit your job because you think you holier than now, and this person comes in and they got your position now and they knocking that thing out and they might be cold blooded with that thing. They cool with it, but they making their money, they got their benefits, and then you.
Okay, I'm not giving up the spot. That is, and that's supposed to be like an excuse for all the atrocities they've been doing. I mean, first of all, I've seen those paintings. I mean, I know many of the codex in Mexico. It's just they've been altered. They've been altered. There was order by the Spaniards. Obviously because they knew the influence these codex they have, and most of it's been I mean, you can see a lot of the representations have been bleached out, have been bleached out. So I mean, that's one point I'm gonna be making. I mean, like, why would they actually, the whites that have destroyed millions of books and documents throughout history? I mean, so I mean, why wouldn't they destroy that? Why would they, if it's so? I mean, like, why are they doing that? I mean, if you ever watch porn, you see that whoever dominate the porn industry is these white bitches. So who's actually pimping out their own women? We know the Jewish own all the porn industry. They own Hollywood. They own everything, and that's the image, because obviously, I mean, I don't want to get into it, but obviously there's a big war between the so-called white man and white woman, which, I mean, like, whatever, this beast. Let's talk about these white devils, right? So I like to be as accurate as possible, not to sugarcoat, because you cannot sugarcoat shit. Their actions speak for themselves. First of all, we have had, we have evidence throughout the world, especially on the 8th century. Migrations. We talk about, Mansa Musa, and I think his brother was the one who's documented that left on an expedition and never to be seen. So that's what supposedly that's what's written. I mean, like, imagine if if anybody was to come to my house and kill me. And of course, they're gonna make sure there's no evidence of them, and they're gonna make sure that I'm not important, for them to investigate the crime. That's the way they do it. Oh, she was a slut, she was like whatever, or they're gonna plant evidence that maybe this was a brothel, maybe this was this and that. You know what I mean? Think with the brains. I mean, like, not don't think. I don't know what. I mean, I hear these, like, yeah, almost at the same time as I started to awaken up. There was always people, when you start to awaken up, they're going to tell you that the blacks are the devil. They are the real devil. They have done really, really, really horrible things, and this is the punishment. And one of the last ones, I never actually made the video. That was like a year before they erased my channel. That I talked about, the one with 20,000 subscribers. I saved it, and this was, I think this was a copy of her channel. So one of the things that get my attention every time I hear this story is, like, they have the same similarities. Like, who is telling this story? I mean, the black men and black women are the real devils in this world. No, I mean, like I said, why do you think there was the migrations? Why do you think they started? Because they knew the Assyrians, they was hitting them hard. They was hitting them hard. And the Assyrians, they was rolling up everybody. They telling, like, hey, Africa, you will not believe the riches of this land. They made sure the Assyrians and like the first ones who started, like, pounding at Kemet. I mean, they made sure, like, okay, so you join us, you make this coalition, and we go, and then we divide. I don't know, they call it the booty, or the whatever, the gold. So that's what happened. So if anybody's going to be spreading this I don't know, story, myth. I don't even know what to call it. They have to prove evidence. Paintings. I mean, like you've seen it. They've been busted in Kemet, bleaching the statues, the paintings on the walls. What they did with all the noses and the lips. What was, it's documented. Napoleon, he was so enraged not to see himself in Kemet that he ordered his troops, to start hitting it, so nobody will learn the truth, because this what they call a sphinx, which is Heru. Obviously got very distinct Africoid features. Even when they destroy the nose and the lips, you can still see the facial structure. So like, Africoid, phenotype, genotype, like everything, like, like even in the Latin America, that's what, like, if you gotta actually do a research to see, like, because they're gonna say, like, in the Americas everybody was tiny, like the way there is now, like in the south part of Mexico. That's the narrative they want to space, but they don't actually show you like this. You have to actually research to see the studies that there was, Anahuacas, because that's what this land is called, Anahuac. there was Latin Americans and Americans, if you want to call it that, what's I got now, I'm confusing the meters. Oh, like 5'10", like like 6 feet. They have found 6 feet skeletons. I know a lot of them didn't survive because of the jungle. I mean, everything was a jungle. If you didn't know, I mean, like most of Mexico was a jungle. What they call now rainforest. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you how they destroyed, what was the flora, the natural habitat of the trees and everything, and they brought in their own things, because they wanted to use what they saw. The land first was to get, okay, so we can crop in here, and then we bring, make them farmers, so to speak, and then when the locals refused to work for them, a lot of them killed themselves too. That's when they started bringing, kidnapping Africans, people from the African continent. So it is a lot, but for me, I mean, like right off the bat, your whole story, that I see that they probably added like one or two, but I see it is the same. It got the same skeleton, like, oh, you enslaved, the whites, and no, the prisoners of war are very, very different to the transatlantic slave trade. I mean, you must have like a big nerve to actually put them in the same category. Prisoners of war, I mean, like there's abundant literature on, historians talking about those facts, that it was not pervasive. It was some they did it, and some they don't. The one thing I did agree was that before I tell you that, I gotta take it back. And I'm talking about, this is a child of Dr. Sebi. It was raised by Dr. Sebi, I should say. But and he is Dr. Sebi's son. He made definitely Dr. Sebi very, very proud. So I mean, that aspect of his thing, his bag, as our African American brothers and sisters call it. He's amazing. He is amazing. I mean, I want to say that. But now, because of the elections, everybody is giving it a shot, right? At geopolitics, at history, at, politics in the United States. Now you got tired? Well, I thought he was opening his mouth. He's been sneaking up on the canary. So, I would say, Dr. Sebi is somebody that I follow. I mean, even, today you can follow them after the great scholars, die. And I say I follow them because I look. I am purposely, at least every other month, do a search on Dr. Sebi, because people are uploading constantly lectures, information, testimonies, people who met him. So yeah, I mean, Dr. Sebi is kind of like, my Jesus. I mean, not only him. I mean, I still looking, for the most honorable Marcus Garvey. I feel like, there's somebody like, I'm really hoping there's not a lot of material they upload, maybe like every 3 years people upload some material, but I always look at on that, new lectures from Dr. John Henry Clark or Dr. Ben Jochen. That's I love it. When I discover a new lecture, it's like, okay, or somebody who met him, like listening to Professor James Small, talk about, Dr. Clark or even the Honorable Malcolm X. Those are things, because you can start contextualizing the information that you got from these great scholars, that dedicated their entire life, to real history, to true history. So first of all, I mean, like anybody who's promoting this, they gotta say that. They gotta say it up front. I find that very coward that you go and you want to just destroy all the work. I'm talking about real scholars. I mean, even like Professor Anthony Browder, who he's not. I understand he's not. Like a professional, like university archaeologist and sociologist, and like I say, like Dr. Clark, like Dr. Ben, that they do have, the whole thing. Dr. Kaba Kamene, he's a doctor. He got a doctorate. I didn't even know. It was Jabari who said that. Like, you got a doctorate. I don't have a doctorate. So I mean, those things, they count. I mean, even as much as I mean, if it's Eurocentric, it's not worth $2. But this is not. These scholars are not basing. I mean, they used, they give you reference too, because I know people, they want to see like, oh, I want to hear it from the whites. So they put bibliography, like they came before Columbus. There's abundant bibliography, from the whites. But that's only, just like to say like, oh, they agree with me. They agree with me. I'm not following them. I just, agree to tell you that even whites, they tell you the truth. Even the whites, they have to tell you the truth. They did not, there was not here before. It was like, I agree with KT, this land, it's very, very old. Very, very old. And, but in the past, let's say, especially in the past, I would say 2,000-3,000 years, it became a refuge for people running away. And we're talking about the great people of Kemet, like, and all these other nations in Africa, they found themselves coming to the Americas, to specifically, I would say, I will bet, I will dare to bet to say that to hide, to keep their technology, so to speak. Well, now we call it technology, their knowledge, the mystery schools, to bring him here to the Anahuac. They knew that. But even before that, I have to rewind it. Dr. Sebi spoke about, the balance of the planet, the balance of alkalinity and acidity. So when these mutations starting to happen, obviously because the migration, you migrate, he contradicts himself, because I watched many of his lectures, and he contradicts himself, saying the soil, the land actually is responsible for your phenotype and your genotype at the same time. So no longer the lands they left, the Africans left, no longer the land supported their hair. No longer it was the beautiful crown. No longer started seeing it, limp, 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 Why? Because, they forgot, or, they start eating some of the shit. They're like, oh, this shit is really good, but did not support the melanin, did not support the African genotype. Like he talked about, there's a million, I don't know, there's 1,000, I don't know how many genes there are, but say there's a lot of dormant genes that we can turn them on. You got to turn them on. Lectures on omega acid. He got lectures on, it's just fascinating, how amazing this man is at his young age. I'm just talking about this regurgitation of something that is not his theory. I heard this theory many, many times. And that's all it is. It's a theory. It's an opinion, what they say about opinions. They're like, everybody got one. But this one, I found it, very, 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 very dangerous. It's still regurgitate and not labeling, the video. Why don't you make a separate video about it and talk about that? I question. He probably will. Because it's like, when it comes to history, we all believe that we are experts, and of course I'm no expert. I didn't even go to school, but I compare, what the Spaniards told us in Mexico, where I was born and raised until I was 23. And I come to the United States, and I was like, damn, they're supposed to be different people, but they did the same things in here, up north, than, what the Spaniards did in Mexico. So like right there, you see, how is that possible if they are not the same people? The same thing, like, how is it possible that the pyramids, that was all built almost with the same technology, and they tell the same story? If it was not because there's only one civilization in the whole planet, which is the African civilization. Like Dr. Kaba said, it's like, it was perfected in Africa, and then they took it on the road, right? So I believe he used to even be a first grade teacher. So he's amazing. He kept that simplicity of fifth grade, sixth grade history lessons. So amazing. And I think he's from New York. So it's like, those are the only things now that I'm happy to be in New York for. I'm not. So like I say, taking it back as far as as far as we can take it about this problem. So we had the rise of these Caucasoids, the Euroasiatics with less melanin until it became no melanin, right? The Nordic, like, all the, I mean, I still haven't really seen the proof that slavery come from Slavs, but I guess everybody already give that for granted. I have enough, but I mean, there's no surprise in that. We know the feudal lords was brutal. They say, like, oh, you want protection, you got to do everything I say. You don't want protection, you stay outside, and you'll be, kidnapped and whatnot. No, I'm not going to defend you. So, and that's kind of like what feminism is going now to the other extreme, right? We want protection, and then we speaking to our men very disrespectfully. Well, we still want our men to protect us and to be men and to be like honorable with us and everything, while we turn our backs and we start talking shit about them and like, oh, no good, you got a job if you want to be with me. It is like, talking about your own people like they're the scum of the earth. This is a cancer that is not only it's coming, I believe, I might be wrong, it's coming from the African diaspora to the whole continent. And this is why I'm here. Because you're going to say, oh, who brought you in, who, like, whatever, like, no. Africans are used because that you're very charismatic and like you're the trendsetters and everything, and it's going everywhere. Who created the intersectionality? Kim Crenshaw, an African woman, right? She created the intersectionality theory that is beating us down in Latin America. That's your theory, supposedly, allegedly. I don't know. That is destroying Latin America. So I am in this business. Thank you very much. I am in this business. I make this shit my business because you're toxic, real toxic, not like toxic masculinity of Black men. Come on. I mean, all the rage that we had against the colonizers, the occupiers, it was just transfer against your own men. You want us all to come against, Black men, allegedly, because they are very toxic. But Black gays are not toxic. They're sophisticated. They're great. So to talk about, this theory, Mr. KT, you said it yourself several times. If the planet it's out of whack, out of balance, it's too acidic, obviously violence and everything, and who made it like that? So it was the Caucasoids that over there, they started eating meat. They are meat eaters, and they started like, I assume that's just one of their business, right? Selling meat, because now Africa is eating meat after hundreds of thousands of years. That I mean, I just like, I think it wasn't him who somebody just published another study they did on some of the mummies and the corpses in Kemet. They found only herbs, herb-based diet, so this meat eating is come of lately. So now if you're going to say like, oh, the poor whites, they didn't know, but they've been knowing that, especially since we have now the technology, how toxic and harmful meat is, right? It's been for a long time. That if there's anything that they spend money, it's in research. They always research, but for themselves, and how they're going to weaponize it against the whole world. So they've been knowing that this acidity in the planet is lethal. So to me, to me, this is not from me. This is not from me. Okay, I don't have no evidence, but I try to use common sense. So, let's say, I am a Kemite, and I'm a leader of some sort, which I know there wasn't, because it was not divided. There was no like spirituality over here, mathematics over there. Everything was everything, right? So that the compartmentalization came from the whites too. So I would love for you to give a lecture on all these, how to support your theory. How this, when they saw, because obviously they was, in the fourth vibration in Kemet, as you speak, a lot of the mushrooms was a natural way, to go from to other dimensions and stuff. And and if once you know the truth about, the solidification of the matter, or whatever it's called, then you don't get as impressed, to see, a rock, because it is just a molecular composition or something. I don't know. So, so they obviously they knew, they had the technology to knew how the entire planet was becoming acid. So that's where I'm coming from first. That's where I'm coming from first. And I'm sure at that point, Africans probably even send people. I say, like, you're fucking up the planet. You're fucking up the planet. You're making it very, very acid. And your feces, your shit is very toxic. It's developing this bacteria that's going to end up killing other people. Like Dr. Sevi asked, say there was no toilets in Africa. Africans did not invent the toilets because they didn't need them. Their shit was beautiful. Their shit was good for the soil. This is why we're children of the soil. Well, your fathers say that. Come on, your fathers say that. There's no need. And that is so true. I mean, like, we all know, like, if you've been trying to go vegan, and then you have meat, and you're just like, oh damn, who farted? You don't recognize your own farts no more, because they're really bad. Because that bacteria stay there longer and create these smells. But if you eat just whatever you need, I mean, in reality, we should not even really go to the bathroom much. And that. We should not even go to the bathroom as much, because, I mean, if we eat what is cellular, the cellular level that it's easy to assimilate. If it is DNA, according to DNA, if it is, all the things, there should not be a lot of waste. And like seeing a lot of women, with heavy menstrual bleeding. I would say breathing. Yeah, they don't want to breed nobody. They don't even want to have children. That's another form of self-hate in the African diaspora. You ask over here in the United States, oh no, I don't want to have children. I don't want to have children. And I'm like, okay. The average age of the Mexican population? It's 11 years. The average age of African American population, I think it's like 25, 20 something. You're getting old. You're getting old, and you're going to be like the Europeans. In a few decades, you're going to be like the Europeans. You're going to be like, oh my God, somebody come here. And because we're losing numbers. You're losing numbers, But that's another thing. So I don't want to get lost. So we have these people who at one point they should have, I'm sure they was made aware of, listen, you having sex with animals, and you like, always sleeping with the animals because they didn't even know what a fence was. This is all documented. They were sleeping with the animals, literally, having sex with them and sleeping with them. Everybody was sleeping. And like, when the Africans came, or Moors, because now I'm talking about like, oh no, the Moors is like, it's like as if there was an African, like the same thing as Israel, like Israel is not in Africa. We're always talking about that. And that's the matrix the whites create, right? That's the Middle East. That's not Africa. That's the Middle East. And everybody play alone. Everybody play alone. Why? As I told you before, because they say like, if we make our own race and we all get, this way, we can communicate and get, this nationalism and start going after the African land, right? So that was basically what it was. They see that the Assyrians was pounding, and they was getting, people saw what was coming out of Africa too. You got to realize that, this amazing gold, everything product. Where you got that from? Oh, there's a land down over there. Oh, if you want to, we can, organize. And how are we gonna organize? And it's like, well, they are black, so if we are white, then we can make our own group, and then we can only and then we share the ransom. Like I say, I'm no scholar, nothing like that, but I'm using just common sense. I'm using common sense. If you was to see that, like I say, I've been in this dimension, whatever, 55 years. So I mean, this is what I think about. This is what I was like, I like everybody else, how it got so bad. Like over here in the Americas, people say how they got. Well, they had like 2,000-year experience with the African continent. That's when they got here to the Americas, and they knew it was the same people. So they apply the same tactics, the same strategies. They know we were very spiritual. They know that everything. So they use the same model that had worked so well in Africa. And, the moment they touched land, they got to Tenochtitlan. That was like the divide and conquer. The divide and conquer. Like, oh, yes, you're having a fight. In Mexico, that those. I'm not even supposed to talk about my brothers like that, but, in Tlaxcala, the Tlaxcalans, they. I don't even know. I don't even know if it's true, but the Spaniards want us to tell us that they immediately bent over and spread their legs and everything, and there was they help him out a lot. So it's not. I mean, it's a state in Mexico that I mean, till this day, there's always going to be people like that, but but then again, we're talking about already a planet that was, going to this acidity even more. You're talking about the acidity. I even think about it, like maybe all these temples, pyramids, and all this stuff. To me, and I heard that many years ago, and to me, every time I think about it, I think like, isn't these points just like, I've gotten a lot of acupuncture. Isn't these points, like acupuncture points? Why isn't it people are talking about that no more? I mean, I'm talking about like that was like I think it was in the 80s or something like that I heard that I mean, because the planet got meridians, just like we have meridians. Go to acupuncture and they align my meridians, and woo, like freaking witchcraft. The pain go away, and I feel much better. I get more energy, blah blah, because the energy is flowing again. My meridians they get disaligned or whatever. And they put the needles, whatever. So obviously, to me, it's obvious that they was doing something to try to restore the homeostasis, to me, I always think about homeostasis, homeostasis. We've seen how after, I mean, I'm gonna say this, your women was also playing part on the incarceration of black men. That I can, and I'm talking about not at the beginning, but at one point they knew that that they could get welfare, an apartment, and all these programs, babysitters. I mean, Dr. Scheherazade Ali, she talked about that. She talked about that a lot. So that's something that you have to say, And there's also a fact that Europeans, or whatever you want to call them, these white devils, they was not bringing women. They was not bringing women. They was not interested in having like breathing centers in the Americas. So it was only until the last 50 years of slavery that they started kidnapping African black women to bring them to the Americas. The last 50 years. So I think that kind of like account more like Harriet Tubman, and something they had not seen the hearse. It's kind of like our families. I'm the second oldest in my family, so me and my sister, especially I feel like me, I got a lot of my father's an alcoholic, my mom is cuckoo, so I got a lot of I was in, like, the first one. I felt like she was cute, she was very charismatic at the beginning until she became a threat to my mom, and then well, anyway, so talk about, I look about the same dynamics about the Europeans, so the first kidnappings from Africa, I feel like there was more brutal because they were still perfecting the transatlantic slave trade, right? There was still like, there's, I don't know, so the last 50 years of chattel slavery in the United States, that's when the black women come in. And where these black women came from, I'm willing to bet that these women, they was indoctrinated, some of them, not all of them, but they had probably some indoctrinated to seduce their black brothers. And so there was some backstabbing and stuff over there. I mean, that's kind of like that's suspect. I have no evidence for that, but I do see today the it's like two different people, black women and black men, and just like, it's like they don't even look like the same race, unless like the phenotype, but other than that, it's just like, I mean, now it's happening more with men too, that they only care about fashion, and but like, I mean, like, your women and those lashes, I mean, like, I don't know, they're turning into drag queens. Shit, I was like, I mean, sometimes it's hard for me not to laugh. I'm sorry, that's no shade about that, but I mean, that's your mother, and like, it's very hard. It is very hard. I see how a lot of, that's another thing, anyway. So to me, I mean, that this whole thing is like, okay, how long are you going to give the whites this forgiveness for destroying the balance in the planet? I mean, at one point they should have known, right? They should have known, this shit is not working. We have to stop eating meat, and we have to stop, like, the whole planet, it's just, they didn't know diseases. So I wonder if the Genesis, the Adam and Eve, it's just like, is Adam and Eve, they found out there was white And I mean, they found out how ugly white is. They found out, maybe they took the mushrooms and they see like, oh, we can see all our veins are exposed, all these, the eyes that they thought it was like, oh, blue eyes are like varicose veins, so at what point, but this is what, I heard a long time ago. I wish I can hear it again, not a long time ago. I don't know, probably 10 years. For me, that's a long time, I guess. The poem about the virus, they describe the whites as a virus. To me, that was like, shit, that is the most sense. It's a virus. It want to recreate their vision. This is why, they want to stay, New York City is all the way up north. Well, right now it's like 75 degrees and it's October 24. But they're making it hot so they keep you pleasant, so you can go out and vote. But what will happen if nobody go out and vote? Then the whole world, they know this is a dictatorship, right? If nobody go out and vote, or at least vote for the Socialist Party or the Green Party. Say, fuck it. Send them a scare. Every 4 years I heard the same thing. Don't waste your vote or whatever. It's like, just for the fun of it. Vote green, or vote socialist, or whatever, even libertarian, whatever fucking shit, don't do them. This is how brainwashed they are. I was just reading before I decided to come here. I was just listening to my local Dominican radio station. They was talking about the debate. I didn't know there was a debate. And they don't even have one. All these years I've been listening, and they don't even have one single original idea. It's like, oh no, I watched this channel from Spain. The guy was saying the chain. It's amazing, this channel from Spain is like whatever it is, and still freaking Europeans. They're they don't. I don't know. They think their history is Spanish history. That's what they teach. They teach Spanish history in Dominican Republic. So. So right there, Africans was the devil. You realize, if you said that this land, the American continent, it's hundreds of thousands of or millions of thousands of years old. You said it every time you get a chance. This is not the new land. This is very ancient. So you think you're judging your own people for the last, 1,500 years or whatever, and like I said, there's another channel that this is something. There's another channel. He do these capsules from Africa, the African diaspora and African kingdoms and stuff like that. So he did, he just released another video. So I wonder, this is a trend that's going on inside, the African diaspora, so to say, this last video he did, he said the Sudanese or whatever, they was known for being the most brutal warriors, and they was hired, kind of like, that's the story of the Khazars. Anyway, sound like a lot of more like the story of the Khazars, but now they're saying it was like the Sudanese or the Ethiopians or the Congolese. I don't know. It's like saying like, oh, and they show all these pictures, all these paintings, like, oh, there was interesting how they go to the Vatican and they say, oh, it's time to release these just to drive them crazy for the next 10 years. And we all go like, oh yeah, it's just like this piece. It's like, where was they? Why would you still have those paintings? Like you say, if it hurts so much to them that, your people, by the way, Africa is huge. So this revenge is like the revenge of the nerds that KT is talking about. It really don't make any sense. They hoard their own women. Come on. You just watch a little bit of porn. Come on, I'm sure you ended up watching some porn, I'm like Stella right now. So I'm trying to get my group back. So, once in a while I was porn. Like, so that's not the solution either. But they're getting worse and worse. The last time I watched it was like 3 months ago. It's like they're getting worse and worse. You go like, what the hell? What the hell? It's just like you look at the categories and you're like, what is this? And that's the white devil. Don't tell me like, one of their tactics is corruption. They corrupt. I call them the great corruptors. They corrupt everybody, with their porn, with their, Hollywood, with their, it's all degradation of the fabric of society. I'm gonna continue reading. Let me see. I'm gonna say the name of that channel. Where are you? Oh, here you are.
You come around, you're like, man, I need to get my job back. You come back, and your boss like, nah, we straight. Yeah, that's what's going on. So my thing is, the world's going to shit because we the ones that got off of the path. We the ones that got caught up in all of the shits. We the ones that forgot our own principles and ended up creating a cancer, so to speak. You know what I mean? And instead of truly loving, come on, man. If I come up and I find out my mama was being hoed, you think I'm not? I could definitely act like I'm cool and all that. I'm gonna let you teach me how to shoot, how to stab, how to cut, how war tactics. I'm gonna learn all those things, and I'm gonna band with my other brothers who their mamas was getting hoed out too, so that we could rise against. Y'all saw Planet of the Apes with Caesar.
He just said it. Yeah, we lost our way. Of course, if they had kidnapped me and treated me like a bitch for 300 and something years, and you think it's like, this just. There's a lot of contradictions. Of course, you lost your way. Come on, but for you to say you deserve slavery, you deserve, because that's what he's implying. This is why I'm here. He's implying that you deserved everything they've done to you. It's kind of like the legend of him, that he saw his father naked and blah, blah, blah. They run with it, just to justify slavery. It's called the home team history. The home team history got 715,000 plus subscriptions, views. It say here views. I don't know. I took a screenshot. So, I didn't take a screenshot of the video that I saw where he talked about that. The same thing, like, we are the devil. We are the devil. You have to watch out for, like, come on, I'm Mexican. Come on, the crabs in the barrel. We all think it's our own creation of that story. We all think like, you all crying of black on black crime. Just like shit. I always said it. And even Professor Truth have used it. Talk about Mexican on Mexican crime. So it's like, you think like, in 12-step programs, they have a term to describe people like you, that are going to a lethal path of no hope. And that term is when somebody is feeling, terminally unique. Terminally unique. I go to Al-Anon, which is a support group, and people, they never listen. It's a 12-step program for family and friends of alcoholics or drug addicts. Because I know every time I say this, everybody say, "Oh, you're a druggie, you're whatever." I'm not better. I'm just, my DNA is not like my father. My father, on the other half, is just like, he had his bottles lined up. It's like horrible. I'm laughing. I don't want to cry. So, but it is a great program because that's the only thing that we got as people who've been victimized by our own family, an alcoholic or drug addict. And that's one of the things I always said. When our African brothers and sisters going to have some time and space to begin to heal? How are you supposed to heal when you still live with the rapists, next to the rapists. They still control you. They still dictate your agenda, your trends. All these people pretending to be black on social media, and they create all these hashtags and stuff like that. Like Yvette Carnell. Just like all these tragic mulattoes that they are your leaders. It never fail. It never fail. I say, colorism is alive and well in the African diaspora. It's just like you don't even realize. I mean, you even have the nerve. African Americans have the nerve to say that they are not black. Because I'm not black. Yeah, because you lost them. You're sick. You lost your melanin. You're sick. And now you're going to do the same thing as the crackers do, like, create all this brown, like Yvette Carnell, brown, whatever. She called herself brown this, brown that. It's just the same story of the rope. The same story, the ancient story of the rope and the knots, right? You make a knot, you got a rope, you make a knot, and then one of these knots starts saying, I'm not a rope, I'm a knot, and you see them there, you are a rope. No, I'm a knot, and it's just like, and woo. So yes, home team history. And I mean, I don't really watch that much. It's like, when I open this new channel, I mean, it's not like you get fresh suggestions. You still, even when it's a different channel, somehow it's like they know, like, kind of like, what you watched before, so they keep suggesting you all these things. So yeah, I got suggested him. I was like, I haven't watched him in a while, but then I saw it, and it's just like, wow. So I mean, I was left after watching that video that Africa was really brutal warriors, and that's what they was known for, and that's what they was just not, I say, like, oh, who opened the first university in Europe? I think Africa was really known for the arts, for the science, for the literature. That's what it really was known. So that video was like, but I already seen that in Latin America. I've seen that in Mexico. You have all these great channels, and every 20, every 30 episodes, they sneak in one. Like, it's kind of like they tell them, like, oh, you do this like this. Like, and I give you, $20,000, and they do it. I've seen it in channels, news channels, supposed to be leftist channels, and once in a while everybody go like, what? Why he's just saying that? I mean, and at the same time, then you get more attention. You be like, people, I guess people are like, oh, you gotta wake up. This is not 100% good person, right? As you used to. I mean, I tuned into KT. He was live streaming yesterday, 23 hours ago, say here. He was live streaming, and talking about mushrooms and all this stuff. We've seen the road to Ixtlan, that Carlos Castaneda, you call him, that Peruvian writer who hated himself so much. He wanted to be white, but supposedly he recorded his encounters with a Mexican Indian. So talking about mushrooms and peyote and stuff like that. So his writings actually was the ones who started it, sparked the hippie movement, the hippie movement, and all these, because a lot of people, they actually thought that Juan Matus, which was the name, he said, I'm gonna give him just this name. That's not his name, because he don't want to be said. He's a shaman, and he don't want to be his name to be bouncing around. That's what he said in the story. Like, you say, it's a big difference, the first books and the last books, of his. So anyway, at any rate, I don't want to be like, but there's a lot of holes in this theory. It scared me that he's talking with such assurance, with such authority, pontificating on, we are the devil, we are the real devil, people, or whatever, like.
No. When you started talking, we learned how to talk. Come on, bro. Because you can't in one breath say the Caucasian is the Neanderthal, right? And then not say that we were sleeping with him, because if the Caucasian was made from Neanderthal, then what Caucasian was sleeping with the Neanderthal to make you see what I'm saying? Like, the chicken and the egg, bro. It don't make no sense. Something's missing.
Yeah, something's missing, like when we're talking about the buck breaking ceremonies, right, of the great African kings here in the United States, right? That was considered to be, uppity, and they were raped. These heterosexual black men in front of their family, in front of their wife, their children, in front of everybody, to destroy them. And that is something that has been, to this day, like I said, it's trauma. There's PTSD about that.
Llamada de B46 Pulse Metro. Llamada de B46 Pulse Metro.
Hey, good morning. I'm live streaming right now. Can you call me back like in 45 minutes? Oh, okay. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for calling. Later. Anyway, that was about some little hustle. I don't think he's interested in a little hustle. He's interested in something else, but I don't know. So, so what was I saying? What was I saying? Let's listen to him, because it's good sometimes to have this, because there's so much, and I can believe he said so much and so little, and it's like, and this is why I feel like, oh, God, you talk about such a delicate subject in 5 minutes. You see how, like, how they, like, of course, who
Something's missing. So yeah, cats were sleeping with Neanderthals, bro. Listen, I don't know what the Neanderthals looked like back in the day. I don't know the reason. I guess they felt that genetically it was like, okay, we have to put this seed in it so it, we could give birth and make this slave. The same way we learn about, because that whole Enki and Lil Sumerian story, we have to think on different levels.
Well, I spoke about that. I spoke about that. If you see the most coveted, precious land and people, they start organizing around Africa. These hyenas, they start organizing. You see how the hyenas, they talk and ha 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 ha, and they say, like, the best way, they're black, we're gonna be white. And we see that how they even, like, they want to make pride out of, like, single motherhood, single motherhood, proud single mother. I say, like, I give it 20 years before they start having their own parade, as if it's something great to be a single parent. I mean, they have grabbed transsexualism to make what? This transgender bullshit. They're promoting to have all these men with tits and penises. I mean, like, what? 200 years of research on transsexualism. Transsexualism, you transcend your sexual organs. You know that you are coming home by, inverting your organs, because this is supposed to be concave. It's not supposed to be, convex. This shit, from your very early age, like, I go, oh, what is that shit? What is that shit? Because, you got the divine feminine, right? I mean, it's like, why, I don't know why some children, they're born with the palate, whatever, they call the lip over here, that is stuck like that. I don't know why children are born like that. Well, they are born like that. I don't know really how. I mean, always the first thing I think about when I see anything in the world, I think homeostasis. Homeostasis. What is it that this is happening? This homeostasis. I might be a result of homeostasis. The feminine essence say like, I'm this bitch, I'm this joke right here. I don't know. I don't know, but I do believe that most of the stuff that we see in this planet is a result of homeostasis. And I talked yesterday about this facilitator of the group that, I was telling about self-esteem. I said, like, this problem, yeah, he had no self-esteem. We just let, anybody like bend over, like whatever. Why'd you put inside your vagina? Why'd you put inside your ass? You don't even know. Why? Because, we all been through so much abuse. I'm not gonna go there, but especially talking about the African diaspora. So, but the moment that what you got, who you are, I mean, like, and who's your obligation to your ancestors? I mean, imagine, that they did realize by the time they came to the Americas, they knew what the Americas looked like. They knew what the Americas. They did not have the whole thing. They have all these stories. Of course, they didn't have the exact coordinates. They didn't have the exact location, but they knew all about it. Actually, there's writings that they place Cristobal Colon, because they changed the name from Cristobal Colon to Christopher Columbus, and you take it. You don't want to change your name over here. My name is not Carlos. My name is Charles. It's like the same shit. Come on. So they placed Christopher Columbus, a couple of months before he sailed, to the Americas. What was he doing there? What was he doing there, Mr. KT? What was it? They knew what was here. They knew everything. They knew they didn't discover nothing. There was never in Black history. This is what I'm telling you. These are the people who put slavery as at the center of Black history. And it's enraging, and it's just like, how many people say that? Black history did not start with slavery. Did not start with slavery. How many people have said that? How many times you heard that probably as an African diasporic child? I mean, like, you heard that, it's like, I know, I mean, well, I remember some, yeah, I mean, the first time I started seeing some, African History Month, stuff, content. Yeah, it's more slavery, focus on slavery, and I think that destroyed that. Roots destroy African Americans. That series, Roots. I can't believe the writer. Well, whoever stole that thing, he was broke. I don't know. Well, according to what they was talking about, Manning Marable, he said that he was always urged for money. He was always begging for for money from writing the autobiography of Malcolm X. Well, quote unquote autobiography, because I'm sure once the Honorable Malcolm X died, I'm sure they just they took a lot of. I mean, they say 2 chapters missing. I don't know. Well, they spin everything. That's what they do. That's what they do. They do know the importance of history. They do know history is one of the most destructive weapons there is in the history of humanity. They do know all that shit. They do know all that shit that we don't. We don't. We all say like, yeah, what's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference? Is like, land. You got no land, you got land. If you was kidnapped from Africa, you don't get no land, according to them. Because they don't call it kidnapping, they call it migration. That's what they're teaching in school. Professor Michael Imhotep was talking about that nobody knew Black history in the United States. They didn't even know the cause of the Civil War was, slavery. So it's just like you got to control your narrative. I mean, I'm a broken record. That's all I want to say. Like I say, control your narrative. Control your narrative. You don't even know what we're seeing in Latin America about African Americans. You don't even know, and you don't even care. But you get surprised? It's like, oh, these damn specs is like disrespectful. Yeah, well, actually, not so much if you take into consideration what they're watching on television. How demeaning it's the portrayals of the African diaspora in Latin America.
You know what I'm saying? We got to think about it on different levels. And what ends up happening is you come to the realization that little agape situation of putting that seed up, like, that's what we was doing. Yeah, I'm trying to make somebody who's disconnected from nature, disconnected from this, disconnected from that, so they can just follow orders and do what I tell them. Just like iRobot, and Terminator and all this other shit, when they make robots, Prometheus, when they made David, and then eventually they're like, yo, I gotta get rid of y'all cats. 100 with Rebecca and Allie, and that whole Prima Fire thing, it's told over and over again. So yeah, man, if y'all did not know, Caucasians were slaves before we were. We are prisoners of war because they banded together and they rose up against ego, and we lost. But we didn't really lose because it's us that is really on top of all this stuff like this, like Illuminati people that you read about on YouTube and all that type of stuff. Those are middlemen. They ain't even the top cats. They still getting instructions. Yeah, man, it's you. You're the problem. Me, I'm the problem. You know what I'm saying? Not them. They just, what they say, what's that story? A frog was trying to get to the other side of the lake, right? And which don't make sense because frogs can swim themselves, right? But just for the sake of the story, the frog was trying to get to the other side of the lake. And I guess it was real people couldn't really swim in this type of water. It was icy cold. Well, the snake has the ability to swim through the water, no problem. So the snake's like, I'll give you a ride. He was like, but you're a snake. He was like, man, I will get you over there. So the frog got on the snake. And the snake takes off and gets the frog to the other side. And right before it gets to the other side of the lake, the snake bites the frog. Ha! And the frog's like, God damn, bro, I thought you said you wasn't gonna bite me. And the snake's like, bro, it's my nature. Like I had every intention not to bite you. It's my nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's like snakes are gonna be snakes. So the behavior that we see is genetic, inherent, psychological behavior. You know what I mean? Black Lives Matter is a psych op. The reason why they're painting black all over everything is to get you to get back connected with that term of being black during a census year. This is a census year where they want you to fill that thing out, tell everybody how many people in your home, and everybody's black, so that they can recognize you as being dead to the law and some strongman. Now,
I told you that African women did not arrive until the last 50 years of chattel slavery. So that obviously create a lot, like my parents, my mom had several miscarriages. She was really not good for labor, but she wanted to have more children. And so long story short, it's like at least 10 years between my older sister and myself and my last two siblings. They was born like 10, 12 years later. So, I mean, if you ask them about, my parents, they're going to tell you a totally different story of what my sister and I lived. Even my sister tell me a very different story of what I lived. Because why? I blocked everything. I have no memories. It's one of the things I might be interested. I'm interested. I mean, there's many things I'm interested in mushrooms, but that's one of the things. It's like, why the mind thing had to protect me. The first 6 years of my life, I had no recollection of memories. So, but my sister tell me a very different story. I have a very different story of my parents. Everybody. So it's like, this is colonialism 101. I shouldn't even have to be speaking about that. But, I don't know. I just feel like everybody had this, I don't know, it just get very tiring, of this. And I mean, I never get a suggestion of any rebuttals of this, and then now they're making like debates is like, so goofy, the debates, and it's just like whatever. They're making really like people, I feel like they're making people like not interested in debates no more. They're killing debates because everybody coming like, like with stupid shit that is not even like, so
I hear for myself as black as every other person because I understand it being a scientific principle as well. Okay, so when we're talking about civil work, Moorish work, nationality and things like that. Yeah, black is not what you want to be. You know what I'm saying? You have to be part of a nation. This is where tribes come into effect. Just like there's tribes in Africa, there's tribes here. What you think Blackfoot is, what you think Wakandandan is, Wakandan is. Wakanda is here. It's a real place. It's a real tribe. Choctaw and Seminole and Cherokee and Lenape. All of these are different tribes. You know what I mean? We always hear a lot of y'all take these little genetic tests and be like, they tell you from Africa, right? This is something that my queen brought up. It was like they tell you from Africa, but then when you see all the people you related to through the genetics, it don't be hardly any Africans on there. It be people from all types of other countries, which means they are really like trying to make sure people don't understand what happened in the Western Hemisphere and the genetics that exist here on this land here. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us originated here and it was back and forth travel and everything like that, Yeah, California, Khalifa, exactly. That's a whole country. The country used to be split by a whole ocean, a river that was huge, The East Coast and the West Coast was split. It was really two countries. And then it receded and, we got land now there, but at one point in time, it wasn't. But that's what I'm saying. Melanated doesn't mean you're righteous. Melanated just means you have a certain genetic disposition and abilities, and you can use those abilities for good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got a gun, you can use that gun to protect yourself. You can use that gun to be offensive and murder with it too, which I do not suggest any of you do. Okay. So being black or being melanated, all right, or being indigenous doesn't mean you got the right mind state. Shit, you could be on all types of stuff, bro. Yeah, so you know what I mean? You could take a Benz and you could drive that thing through the city real cool. You could take a Benz and drive it to the desert and get it all dusty. You could get a Benz, you could drive it off a cliff. It all depends on the driver and what you're doing with what you got. So yeah,
well, you still continue watching their television. You continue to be in the Matrix. Come on.
Color man is a mug. Don't get me wrong. Caucasians definitely have certain traits, but black folks do too. You know what I'm saying? So we do the research. I suggest all of y'all start looking into. I think they even have a series that's about to come out called Cracker.
I mean, that's what I want to talk about. These black tendencies. Of whatever Neanderthalism or whatever. I don't know. Every time I hear all that, and I wish that I keep a diary of all this. I really wish I was this color. And I could tell you like all these, what we call black. They're biracials. Come on. They're biracials. So again, all your points are like, you got no points. Your story got more holes than your t-shirt that you're wearing. It's ironic you're wearing that t-shirt with so many holes. Because that's your story that you're telling. Got so many holes, it don't really add up. It really don't add up. I mean, like, why you're going at it, just like looking like a fool. Disrespecting black scholarship. They gave their lives for you to know really what happened. And if you want to debunk it, whatever, okay, you got to say like, hey, I have the destruction of black civilization, and this chapter in this page, this is garbage. Okay, don't you go grab the whole book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, and just throw it in the garbage. That's so easy to do, right? That's what I can do that. Anybody can do it. The crackers have done that. So it's like, I don't know why is this so adamant, to we are evil. We are the most evil people.
Out of all names, why they switch it up and the white people are slaves now. And I'm telling you, that's true, man. They were. Matter of fact, during the time that we talk about slavery, we were masters to our own people.
You see where he got all his research. He watched this series on television or Netflix, whatever. That shit is the same shit. Tele, I think it means distance, right? Tele and vision, you see, still television. YouTube was supposed to be the anti-television, but anyway, that's where he got it from, this TV show. The whole thing. I know the whole in the slabs and all stuff like that. It's just like, I mean, they created this term, they coined this term, friendly fire. You're talking about the people who coined the term friendly fire. Can any bomb be friendly? I mean, like, can like the one of the bombs, like the one on Hiroshima that fell on Hiroshima, can it be friendly? I mean, at one point. And oh yes, if it was our allies, or from part of the coalition, it's just like that's friendly fire. I mean, like, so he finally gave a source of his theory, and it's this TV series. How irresponsible, especially from a scholar. I understand he did not go to university and stuff like that. That's good. That's good. But he's just like, I don't know. Let's
talking about?
finish
What are you
this.
talking about? You telling me we didn't have black slaves? We got black slaves now. We got black masters now over black slaves now in the workforce. Come on. You telling me ain't people become supervisors and go to their head and they be straight snitching and banging on you hard?
And they are biracials. They don't look it. I have had friends. It's like, my grandfather was white. That's the first thing they tell you, these African Americans. And now you're talking about, the African diaspora. I'm talking about, like, I wouldn't know how much the population in the whole world is, but that's what he's talking about. He's dismissing like a billion, I don't know, more than a billion people just on a television series. I will, like, I mean, actually we can debate because I don't have any scholarity like that and you don't. So we could debate. I would love to debate you. I mean, in a very informal, very casual. Obviously, we're not going to be like. But if you have a chapter of a book, from one of the, if you want to debate, like, for Mr. Dr. Runoko Rashidi, or Dr. Clark, or something, like, well, bring the chapter, read it, and then we'll talk about it. How interpret it. What I told the homeboy, because he used to call himself boy. This is your boy. I said, like, you're a boy? I said, like, he don't call himself a boy no more after I told him that. The home team history, the home team history television channel. I say, I go by what they call us. They call us morenas. They call our men morenos. And I know for a fact that moreno is another word for black. Because it's the same thing as more. Moreno, more. La morena. La morena. They talk about, they're going to go see La morena. They're supposedly that they're the deity, which is Isis, Aset. Black. Real black, not, faded black. So you want to tell me that it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous that you're defending these people, these monsters who knew exactly what they was doing. And okay, if you're gonna give them a pass, okay, all these 2,000 years. I mean, the last 2,000. Well, if you want to give them 2,000 years of pass, I might be somehow, understand a little bit. But especially in the last 100 years, come on. They cannot. I mean, they could have at least, and they're getting more vicious, actually. They're getting more vicious, which is a telltale sign that they know the damage that they're doing. But they cannot help it. It's like a virus. The virus end up destroying the host, end up destroying the hostess. How stupid is that, right? But that's a virus. That's a virus. That's a particular, like you say, because it's not alive, it's not dead. It's just a particle. That's what the Europeans, Dr. Khamenei, he spoke a lot about that. He spoke about all of that, getting trapped in the last ice age, losing big chunks of their DNA, their pineal gland, totally shriveled, dry. That I think it was only the Vietnam War when they found out what a real healthy pineal gland was supposed to look. When they did the autopsies, they started like, what is this? They were like, what is this? It's like, it's just like, and then they finally found out, oh, this is what a pineal gland is supposed to look like, nice, juicy, fluffy, healthy, and there's this shit. Like right there, they could have like done a turnaround and say like, well, okay, maybe, the pineal gland make a big difference in people's behavior. It'll make you uncorruptible, because I know the propaganda is intense. I used to watch television even like 12 years, 15 years ago. I used to watch television every day. I would come home and like, first thing you do, automatically turn on the television. So I don't. So I really don't even know. Like, all these people that they're going through. For me to find out what they're seeing on television, I see people's behavior. Like you, I see you're watching television. Anyway, I see the pillars, the blue and the red, your brothers. I see them too. They watch a lot of television, a lot of movies, comic books, anime. And yes, they are disclosing some of it over there, but you cannot go, your scholarship cannot be based on a Hollywood movie. And yet I see a lot of people, not just your family, your brothers. There's a lot of people that they're basing their life on comic books. I feel like that's not. Anyway,
we have been our own worst enemy. The Caucasian is nowhere near as powerful as an enemy as we are to ourselves. They're the great distraction. That's what they are. They're distracting the real situation going on, which is ourselves. Us. We're the issue. Look in the conscious community, huh? You let me know why we haven't done no conference where we all holding hands and putting in work. Why we don't have no institution? Why haven't we done anything productive collectively yet? Ask yourself, even in the quote unquote woke community, where we're mainly Black and brown, right? Caucasians come and they check it out, you know what I'm saying? But really it's just us, right? Mainly men, there ain't even enough women involved in it. There should be, right? But why don't you see us doing work together? Ask yourself that. Ego, narcissism, fear, everything like that. Am I throwing shade? Am I calling people out? I am not. Don't put me on record. I'm not talking about nobody in particular. I'm talking about collectively, me included. Okay? We were so conscious and we were so woke, we would be unified. We would have been unified for years now. It's 2020. You would think in this year, for all years, we would have banded together like fucking Captain Planet, water, air, fire. Leo, Donatello, Michelangelo, something. Avengers Assemble, something. Voltron, something. Nothing of the sort, because we got issues. These psychological issues are not based on the diaspora and 400 years of servitude. It's based on our fucked up mutation that we went under long before that got us into a situation that put them in a position where they could enslave us.
Just like that. No COINTELPRO, no infiltration, no, we know more than half of the entourage of the Honorable Malcolm X, was infiltrated. They either worked for the NYPD, they worked for the LAPD. They didn't even know each other. They did not even know each other, that there was from the FBI, the CIA, there was some from the CIA, the FBI, like, come on. Why do you think they came to Dr. Martin Luther King? Why do you think they sent that gay guy, Bayard Rustin? Non-violence. Why do you think like they kept totally, the Jewish kept like, oh yeah, we got you, we with you, He did not even know what he was signing, Dr. King. And I've seen some pictures after that he signed that thing that we talk about, the message to the grassroots. The Honorable Malcolm X, he disclosed the transaction, how it went in. But I'm almost sure Dr. King did not know what he was signing. And some of them, they didn't know what he was signing. We're talking about, the hip hop. Professor Jason Black have exposed that. They don't even know how to write, $1 million. They think it's $1 million and it's $100,000. It's tragedy we're talking about here. Should not be laughing about it. The devil. Oh, we bringing this to ourselves. We deserve all this. I mean, this is why I stopped reading African American Twitter. I repeat myself because I'm sure people, they don't think I know what I'm talking about. For more than 10 years, I was reading African American Twitter every freaking day. I left disgusted. You're picking fights with your brothers in Africa. You're picking fights with everybody. You're a rumblefish. I give you that. But that's just because you've been brainwashed. It's not your nature. By the way, the story is a scorpion and a horse. That's a scorpion and a horse. And yes, the horse asks, why you beat me? It's my nature. That's the cracker's nature, not your nature.
We handed that shit right off. We told him the magic. Let me tell you something. If you notice in 14, 1500, when we slid that magic over, they was like, word? Oh, shit. You mean it's not just on the surface? Oh, man. We our worst enemy, bro. We are. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think they say black on black crime so much on the news? What's the name? Used to talk about that all the time. May he rise in power. Oh my goodness, I'm not thinking of his name at all right now. Come on, somebody help me out. I'm having me a brain fart. He gonna come back to me when I say his name. Y'all gonna be like, KT, really, bro? But he would talk about they talk about black on black crime anymore. They don't say Chinese on Chinese crime. They don't say white on white crime. They don't say Italian on Italian crime. The reason why I found out, the reason why they say black on black crime is because that's exactly what it is. The whole issue, the whole problem is that the basis of issue on this was black on black crime. It's us fighting each other. No, not Bobby Hemmett. Oh my goodness, what is this guy's name, man? No, not Claude Anderson, not Delbert Blair, man. I'm really stuck right now. There it is. Thank you, sir. Dick Gregory is what I'm trying to remember right now. You ever notice the more you try to remember a thing, the more that door is like jammed. It's like, nope, I'm not gonna let you remember. Well, yeah, Dick Gregory is the word I'm looking for. But he used to talk about the whole white man turn black on black crime, but he don't say that with any other race because the basis of all of this is based on black crime, us fighting each other. The American Revolution is between the redcoats, Brits, right, which was the black Brits. Go to Britain right now and holla at black folks over there. Don't get me wrong, I got a lot of good people over in Britain, but I've never seen uppity and snobbish and nose up more than in Britain. They got that thing down to a science. You know what I'm saying over there, boy, it is. But I mean, that's the environment they're in. Just like when you go to New York, you're not gonna find more ego in any other sector of the country than in New York. New York has an ego out this world. I know, I lived there. So you had redcoats, black Brits. You had the colonialists, which was on the coast, right? Because we was always doing trade and they was coming over here, escaping persecution, all types of stuff like that. And we was like, yeah, of course, yeah, the land is ours, man. It was like, you can't come inland, but y'all can have this. You know what I mean? And then it was the indigenous folks, the brother Blackbeard that I'm referencing, he read.
Okay, indigenous folks. So you are dismissing our struggle too. So you're going to say the entire, Latin America, in this case, what we went through, our pain that we're still going through. If you don't know, we had a coup d'etat on October 20th, 2019. And it was not until October 17 of 2020 that they was able to supposedly get rid of that government, in an election. But that was a horrific year of massacres, of terrorism, allowing this bought and paid for, whatever, mestizos or mulattoes, they sold out. Always talking about biracials. Always talking about biracials. This is why if you was to read, Black scholars, I mean, you would not be making an ass out of yourself. I mean, it just well, let's let him finish the sentence.
a excerpt of a writ declaration, something from King George, where he explicitly stated that the colonialists are not to go inland and any further, inland with their colonies and stuff like that. Just on some, this is what we made an agreement to. This is what we got. Don't go in there fucking around with them cats, man. Let's just let them have that. You go to the West right now, there's no cities. Like the land goes on forever. Forever. And it's like, yeah, you got to be a powerful mofo even in 2020 where there's no plaza, there's no Walmart out here, nothing. It's just land and mountains and canyons and cliffs and yeah, bro. So yeah, man, I'm like,
he was talking. Let me.
So you had redcoats, black Brits. You had the colonialists, which was on the coast, right? Because we was always doing trade, and they was coming over here, escaping persecution, all types of stuff like that. And we was like, yeah, of course, yeah, the land is ours, man. It was like, you can't come inland, but y'all can have this. You know what I mean? And then it was the indigenous folks. The brother Blackbeard that I'm referencing, he spoke. He read a excerpt of a writ declaration, something from King George, where he explicitly stated that the colonialists are not to go inland and any further, inland with their colonies and stuff like that. Just on some, this is what we made an agreement to. This is what we got. Don't go in there fucking around with them cats, man. Let's let them have that. You go to the West right now, there's no cities. Like the land goes on forever. Forever. And it's like, yeah, you got to be a powerful mofo even in 2020 where there's no plaza, there's no Walmart out here, nothing. It's just land.
Well, I tell you what, we know this in Mexico. This is like, I give you that much. I don't know. His theory, it sounds more like African Americans, like I've spoken about it. I made some videos in this channel and another channel about, how sometimes, far gone, some African American population are gone. Have gone, into this whiteness, we consider things to be extreme, like skin bleaching and all those contact lenses and the weaves, but we don't, the behavior, we don't see it in the same category, but we know the land, I suspect, because the same thing happened in Mexico in the south. So the land, the whites, first of all, to come to this land, the whites, they knew how to do these ceremonies. You had to ask permission to the land. We are building right now a train that is going to be connecting all the major archaeological sites in the southeast Mexico. So, and we had to do, and that's on video. We had to do these ceremonies. We had to ask permission to the land. We had to have the original people, the indigenous people from the land to do this, and otherwise it don't happen. Otherwise it don't happen. So especially the South, once they saw what happened in Tenochtitlan, with Hernan Cortés, that son of a bitch and that whore who sold us out, La Malinche, that they're trying to make into a saint of feminism. So then obviously the entire population moved into out in many areas. It's happening in Mexico too. You can go. There's areas that empty supposedly. Like Black Matter is supposed to be empty, right? So they did the rituals and stuff. That I wouldn't know. If I knew, I probably wouldn't be here, right? If I knew these rituals and how to protect ourselves and stuff. But it is that nothing prosper in those lands. And after a while, as crazy as the crackers are, they have to recognize there's powerful forces of the land. There's powerful forces of the land. So it's like they was not. That's why our culture survived in Latin America, because people was able to guard themselves with this call it magic, whatever you want to call it. But it is true. It is true, right? They have severe accidents during construction. They have all kinds of things. And then there's other lands, like I'm in California. I feel like there's lands that they don't want to. They have the last reserves of oil. They want to. This parasite country. Let's use the oil from Venezuela first. This is why it's like I said. African Americans are the Venezuelans of in the United States. It's like a Venezuela within the United States. That's African Americans. We've seen all these tactics they apply to Venezuela are the same tactics they apply to you. So why? Because of coveted land. They have the largest reserves of oil in the whole world. They have all these things. So Venezuela is the country to be had. And the people of Venezuela decided that they're not going to be their backyard, and they cannot go in. They can sell it. The government of Venezuela, they're willing to sell their oil, but that's not what the United States government want. So I figured that all this unoccupied land is because they don't want to use their reserves, because they want to assure. You got to look into the Monroe Doctrine. Have you looked in the Monroe Doctrine? I mean, like that's he had a dream, like George Washington, that manifest destiny. This, that the Americas is supposed to be in control of the whole hemisphere. I mean, the United Slaves of America is supposed to, and that was a dream. That was a vision. That was actually a vision that Monroe had, and that's what we're going through in Latin America. This is why, sometimes I feel like there's no hope for the Black cause, because you are, many of the people who have a large audience, I should put it like that. They have a large audience. Influencers are picking a war against Latin Americans, which I know, like I say, I don't know the numbers, but I feel like it's just like, I know African Americans, there are like 45 million people here in the United States, African Americans, because you don't count Africans, like the African diaspora of, Latin American descent in the United States. So that's your downfall at the same time. But it's good to preserve the melanin, which you say melanin have nothing to do with who you are. Okay. So it is a lot complex. I know this is a very, very ambitious video. And I mean, I'm not doing too bad. For somebody who didn't go to school or something. And I'm just so enraged and frustrated. This is why I want to stay away from African Americans. I want to stay as far as away. But I do need you. I mean, because I can understand a lot more from you, because I've been in this country for more than 30 years. So it's like I assimilated very well, unfortunately. And not everything is 100% bad, right? So the reason is that I can understand some of this stuff, so when you assimilate. So, well, I think it's finished.
And mountains and canyons and cliffs and yeah, bro. So yeah, man, I'm like, we have to look at ourselves. This is what 2020 I think should have taught us. 2021, we need to come anew, and we need to realize that it's not the white man's fault. I'm sorry. That's not to take away deviancy, you know what I mean? And his tendency to exemplify, certain deviant and demonic behavior. Okay, I'm not washing that over at all. It's no pass. But what I am saying is, stop spending all your energy talking about him and her, what they on and what they do, what you can't stand. Like, yeah, there's an imbalance in the world because we created that imbalance and we suffer from that imbalance now. We created that. So when you be like, oh man, this ain't fair, you wouldn't do this to a white person. That's true. But why? Why is that situation set up? Swallow that and move on. You know what I'm saying? You're able to create businesses. You're able to stack racks. You're able to travel. You know what I'm saying? You're able to build. You're able to do whatever the hell you want to do. Ain't nobody stopping you. Yeah, there's government. Yeah, there's taxes. Yeah, there's racist folk and skinheads and Ku Klux and black ops and there's all types of crazy shit, but that's why you do your magic. That's why you keep your spirit strong. That's why you take entheogens so you can kind of get one up on everything. That's why you stay abreast, to what's happening and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So that you can make your proper movements in the midst of it. Like there was a point in time where, yeah, you could just kind of walk around and smell the roses and do what you need to do. It ain't like that right now. You gotta be a little bit more aware, but that don't mean you don't have the ability to do what you need to do for you and yours. Stop wasting your time writing synopsis on how bothered you are by race of people and how frustrated you are and the lack of fairness that exists in the world, and use that energy to create your fairness. This starts with you and your perception. You can't talk about, oh man, holographic reality and you do that through my mind too and all that. But then a white person has the type of metaphysical power beyond God, greater than God, that can just cut right through your mind and the power of your heart and your strength and your genes and just shut all that shit down. And now you can't do none of that no more. Maybe you should pray to a white Jesus then, because you obviously are acquiescing all your power to the principle of the thing. So I can understand why people have emaciated, pale Jesuses hanging from a cross on there, because they're like, shit, the way I operate my life, I acquiesce all my power to him. So I might as well just say, you died for my sins. What is your sin? Your lack of purpose, and you're passing the buck-ism. And they say they believe in God, they do believe in God, and you're God, but you're acting outside of yourself. So they're treating you like you're acting. Don't act like God be God. People say that's blasphemous, but no, God lives vicariously through us. And don't just worship a God, exemplify God through your actions. And when you do that, you are God, because what God is through you.
So this is something I wanted to know, why, what is it going to be different? Because the definition of insanity is doing things over and over again the same way. You've been protesting since let's talk about the lynching of Emmett Till. What was that, 64? No, 63, I think it was 1963. So you can see, I can see the definition of insanity. I can see the definition of insanity, like right there. Going on protest, voting. You've been voting for more than 100 years, and I can see that. The situation is worse. It is not. Imagine if anybody had the ability just to print out, money, and that currency was the most respected currency and feared currency in the whole planet. That's ridiculous. So it's like, what's going to be different? What do you think this time it's going to be different than what happened to all these dozens and dozens of little Africas throughout the whole country? Like Seneca Village right here in Manhattan. Seneca Village, which they are always, if you listen to what they said, it was like, yeah, it was just a black neighborhood. That was it. They didn't have nothing. They had no bank. They had nothing, So you're always believing their narrative. So what's going to be different? That's not going to happen to what happened to Seneca Village, what happened to Rosewood in Florida. Just firebombed, and it's just like, what's going to be different? When you're fighting with your brothers in the African continent, when you're like, it just really makes no sense, what I'm going to say. You already know what I'm going to say. Stick to what you do so well. Stick to what you do. You're a genius. And next trip you take with those mushrooms, if you like 50 grams, go and take a look at that part of what we call history. Not his story, but let me just see if we finish this. I didn't watch the whole thing. I couldn't watch it without getting a heart attack.
It's not egotistical to say that. It's actually selfless when you think about it. No, the Moors didn't fuck up the most. We fucked up the most. It ain't no one Moor. It ain't just one group of black Moors with red fez. We're the Moors. We fucked it up. No, that's not what it is. It's factions. It's factions. Do you know there's like 4 sets of Moors? Right? Then you got indigenous people, Aboriginal people. You know what I mean? You got all types of factions. You got tribes. We fucked it up. There ain't no more. See, that's the problem. Every time anything gets said, a person wants to be like, they did it. No, say I did it. Say we did it. Not they did it. Alcohol's Anonymous, the first step is you gotta acknowledge you're an alcoholic, bro. Anytime you got a problem, you have to acknowledge the problem first. There's no change, there's no healing, there's no transformation until the acknowledgement takes place. If you can't recognize that you're part of this issue, you telling me you just, every day perfect, you ain't never did nothing? No bad thought, no nothing? Stop it. If you're here on earth, you did something. The fact you exist here lets me know you did some shit, or else you wouldn't even be here. But yeah, it wasn't on one group of anybody. It was fights, and it was bickering, and it was petty behavior. And then what happened is a group of people came together and galvanized and was able to overthrow a power that existed. You know what I mean? And we're a byproduct of all that warring. Now, we're on all these wars of 1812, World War I, World War II. All these world wars, all these wars that we know about are based on our ancestry, the fight between Islamic backgrounds, Christian backgrounds, Hebrew backgrounds. Yeah, folks was Hebrew over here. That's why when they digging up all these mounds, they finding Hebrew letters and Hebrew this. You go to the Midwest, you'll find a lot of people at these family reunions got Hebrew names. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot to do with that. Judaism, what the Jews practice, that's our practice. Hebrew letters is something that we exemplify. That's our magic. That's our work. But see, everything else is separate. Now, when you talk about Hebrew Israelites and Hebrews, and I'm not saying that I'm Hebrew, and, I'm running with a lot of these organizations and stuff. And am I saying they wrong? I'm not saying that either. I'm not throwing shade. I ain't talking about them. So don't try and single me out that. When I'm talking about the language of Hebrew and the practice of Judaism has a lot of principles inside of it that originated with our people. This is what we exercised. When you look at Hebrew letters, it's a beast. They're flames. They're magic. They're grim. There's so much power in the Hebrew alphabet. Listen. I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. The Hebrew lexicon, bro. That's Harry Potter shit right there. Yeah, that was me in the Melanin conference. I was on stage with with Layla Africa, Aline Bay, Layla's wife, and Hiawatha, also known as Booksy Coleman. We was all in that conference. That was like my first event in the community, like a large event that I did. I was doing a lot of stuff in Atlanta, but yeah, that's when I had a shortcut, we'll go to and everything like that. I was in the black red booth my dad gave to me, But yeah, man. But yeah, y'all need to study our history, man, and find out, why it was whitewashed. I also think 100 years is missing. I think it's probably more than that, but definitely 100. Like the 19th century was taken out of the history books. Like there's a whole jump that occurred between the 1800s and what we know as the 1900s. Because think about it, 20th Century Fox, right? It said 20th Century Fox in the 1990s, right? That was the 20th century, and this is the 21st century. There's a century missing. A whole 100 years, there was shit popping in. Reconstruction, come on, Reconstruction was the whole change of all this shit. Like somebody said the mud flood. Yep, that's one of them. That's one of the situations right there. Yep, that whole mud flood. Yeah, so do the research and find out, man. Yes, that is my Cash App. I don't usually put it up, but since you put it up and y'all asking, I'll put it up this time. It really ain't my thing. Yeah, that's it right there. But yeah, man, we let's see if she get there yet. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. I touched on it at the beginning of this in the first hour. I'm definitely gonna do a Lovecraft. But thank you very much. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, and that's a good example too. Just like right now, we got conscious community, you got woke people, right? Then you got people that are just intelligent and go to like school and stuff. You got like sorority people and fraternity people. You got Boule people. You got people that just have jobs. You got people in the hood. You got people that that don't want nothing to do with none of this stuff. You know what I mean? You got people that just hate on the folks that be on this. You got the vegans. You got the meat eaters. You know what I'm saying? You got the omnivores. You got all the factions. Well, it's always been that way. It was factions like that before. Even within the Moors, there was different types of factions. There was different types of factions in the tribes. That's why they were tribes with an S at it. So the same way that we talk about all this stuff and people be like, that's conspiracy. You taking it too far and everything. Like, they was on that before. It was on that before. It was people that was like, yo, we got to rise up and knock these things over the head because I can't take this shit no more. I was told that, with the whole Caesar situation, that the people that rose up against Caesar and that whole thing, like those was Moors, those was black. Well, I'm not gonna say Moors. I'm gonna say melanated people, like in Greece, like they were mixed people, they were full bloods. Like a lot of these stories that we read about all these people, they were people of color. There was a time it was just people of color, so we were doing all this devious behavior, and then we raised up these individuals in this devious behavior, and they exemplified the devious behavior more than anybody because they was created in it. Now we like the white man's the devil. Man, every time I've seen the devil in his real form, he's always been dark skinned with goat legs. And they herd goats in Africa and in indigenous societies. So I'm like, what you talking about? You're saying this, we're all black. Gothic people, they make themselves darker. I'm just saying, I'm just observing shit. You know what I mean? I don't mean that's what it is. I'm just observing things, I'm just observing, So yeah, man, I'm just sharing my thoughts with y'all. I never tell y'all to take everything I'm doing verbatim. I always suggest y'all do your due diligence and look things up, research. Just, you came up and we learned about the diaspora, how wicked white people was. They put us in slavery. How could they do that, Jim Crow? How could they hang us? How could they do all this stuff to us? That's facts, right? But you got to ask yourself, how did we get there? You telling me that people that didn't even know how to navigate on a boat found their way to Africa in a tropical environment their skin is not built for? We don't live on the coast. We live deep inside the country. They came deep inside the continent, past the lions, past elephants, past the alligators, past the bugs and the diseases, past that sun beating on them. Walk right in. Put the Bible up. Jesus.
Are you serious? I mean, if Dr. Sebi was to listen this right now, he will give you one of those disgusted looks. The tonic water, tonic water, quinine water. You can drink that and get in the sun. Okay, I mean, you're encouraging people to do the research, so I encourage you to do the research first before you start pontificating as a scholar, as one of the most well-respected scholars in Black society. This is reckless, beyond reckless. I would edit the video and I would just put the first part. That was amazing, And I find that cowardly that you sneak it in right there in one of the videos, like you're talking about mushrooms, and it's like, oh well, but that's what you're doing, I mean, and this is what I hear about these younger generations that, they talk and then they stab you, and then they put a tissue out to stop the bleeding, and then they stab you again, and it's very confusing the way they talk, oh yes, but it was but this and that. No, come on, you said really serious accusations. No, don't come and say now that you just do your own research and blah blah blah. But so far your quotes, it's an actor, Hollywood actor, Dick Gregory, a television series. What else have you quoted? I mean, it's all the whites, sources.
This, right? We was like, yes, and they just took us over here to the country where it took 4 to 6 months to travel. We packed up on the ship like sardines, shit pissing on each other, pulled us off the boat, and we working, we strong, we get leftovers, and we taking the leftovers of, and this is my thing, I'm like, veganism must be bullshit then, because if slaves was just eating goddamn chitlins and shit all the time, but they was able to pick cotton and lift all that weight, and they was buck strong like they was, I'm like, shit, maybe I do need to eat some meat then. You know what I'm saying? If that's what was happening, but I think that had a lot to do with being in the sun all day. But that story has a lot of holes. You gotta ask yourself, how did it get there? And it got there because we put ourselves there. You know what I mean? And when we say Moors, we can't say Moors like we're talking about anybody separate with us. We gotta say we taught them in Europe. We educated them. We sold their mamas in harems. We did that. We can't say like when you say Beethoven was black, but let's say Beethoven was a Moor. You know what I'm saying? Then you know what I mean. You can't be like just to benefit you. Then you know what I mean. Beethoven was a Moor, and you're not.
Well, I mean, talk about, he mentioned the harems. These powerful black men who used to have multiple wives. So that was taken, the Arabs, they created that identity of the Arab, the Semite, which is semi-black. They consider it semi-black. That's what it means. Semite mean mulatto. So they created. I'm just listening to him. How beautiful he's saying. Thank you, Tlapaltic. So I'm just like, I'm not lost my train of thought because I was listening to him. What was it that?
Where it took 4 to 6 months to travel, we packed up on the ship like sardines, shit pissing on each other, pulled us off the boat, and we working, we strong, We get leftovers, and we taking the leftovers of, and this is my thing. I'm like, veganism must be bullshit then, because if slaves was just eating goddamn chitlins and shit all the time, but they was able to pick cotton and lift all that weight, and they was buck strong like they was. I'm like,
There was many people who, to this day, there's many people who refuse to eat their food. What they promote.
maybe I do need to eat some meat then. You know what I'm saying? If that's what was happening, but I think that had a lot to do with being in the sun all day. But that story has a lot of holes. You gotta ask yourself, how did it get there? And it got there because we put ourselves there. You know what I mean? And when we say Moors, we can't say Moors like we're talking about anybody separate with us. We got to say we taught them in Europe. We educated them. We sold them mamas in harems. We did that. We did that. We can't say like when you say Beethoven was black, but let's say Beethoven was a Moor. You know what I'm saying? Then you know what I mean. You can't be like just to benefit you then. You know what I mean? Beethoven was a Moor, and you're not Moor. You don't relate to Moor, so he was just a Moor. He wasn't black. You know what I'm saying? No, we say Beethoven was black. This person was black, and you're saying that because you're black and we're black people, and yeah, we all got this genius. You can't just use that shit every time to just make yourself feel powerful, and that's called ego and narcissism. If you did not know that, that is very narcissistic. So when you talk about Moors, you talk about melanated people of color, you black. You black. Black folks did that to Caucasians. We created the circumstance we are currently in, and we are suffering from it. There's no curse of Am and all that shit. It's called karma. It's called karma. Understand? Dancing with the rings of Saturn. Yeah, you think white folks was looking in the mirror, adoring themselves before us, and we was draped in silk and gold and crystals and diamonds and garb with temples? And come on, bro. You telling me we was a mirror on the motherfucking wall? Who got most soul of them all? Baby. Who was doing that? That was us doing that shit. We was not, yes, mirror on the wall. Who thine has thine beauty invested in? No, that was not it. Yes, we're the elves, we're fairies, we're the goddamn warlocks, the witches, all that shit. All that shit. We use that on each other. We cast spells on each other. You understand? We create curses on each other. We inhibited functionality. We erase memory of ourselves. This is why we just so confused about everything. We did this, and other races are just taking.
We. You're talking about mulattoes. You're talking about people who was raised by white people. That was Dr. Laila Africa. You know, one of his last lectures he gave in Brooklyn. He said, you know, Obama. Somebody else got another canary. They are corresponding. I just don't think so. So Obama, you know, he said Obama was an idiot. I say why? Because he was raised by a white, quote unquote, woman. So now you're going to judge all Africans because of Barack Hussein Obama, who don't even have an African, you know, well, it's an African, but it's like, it's made anti-Africa because they're like, oh, this is Arab, this is not African. Get that.
Taking advantage of our mental issues. You understand? The same way guys take advantage of women that might not be up on game, you spit that game on, no, you get in bed and smash, right? That karma will come back later. That's what we did. And that's what's being done to us. We're getting taken advantage of for the lack of understanding that we have. But we have.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to tell you. Yeah, he's a simp. He's a feminist.
Lack of understanding because of the mental problems we have, the Alzheimer's, you know? But yes, we definitely are going to rise back up and everything. But like I said, there's no healing. There's no, there's going to be no resurgence of our people until we get acknowledged that we did wrong. It's our fault. Listen, Ghana started that shit earlier this year. Look it up. They said we participated in the slave trade. We also were slave holders. Why they say that shit? Huh? Yeah, bro. You could be the descendant of a slave master. You know, you could be married to a woman who was a slave. You could be married to your ancestors' slaves' descendant.
I knew he was going to go there. That's the excuse I heard that from many years. You know, well, my grandfather, my grandmother, allegedly, you know, I mean, you don't even see them. You don't even see them. I have I used to have this friend. I don't know, we're not like, you know, Tanya is just like, no, my grandmother was white. It's like, whatever. Just don't talk bad about my people. Blah, 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 blah. It's just like,
and both y'all back. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just using Alzheimer's as an example, not literally. I'm just saying in terms of loss of memory. Yeah, in Nigeria, we think happened in America. You telling me we wasn't snatching up Choctaw and Mississippi and mound builders? And yeah, we're doing that here too. And the slaves that were here were not coming from Africa. The slaves here came from here. You snatch somebody up from Texas and you take them over to Mississippi. You snatch somebody up from South Carolina, you take them to Alabama. You snatch somebody up from Arkansas, you take them to Tennessee. You snatch somebody up from Florida, you bring them up to Georgia. That's what was happening. We from here. We've been here. This is our land. Been our land. You know, until we acknowledge that we come from here and we are in this shit because we put ourselves in this shit, there's going to be no change because we're too busy blaming Trump and Biden and Bill Gates, and they're just taking advantage of people that are showcasing that they are obviously.
So you just took a shit on us Mexicans too, on all Latin America, because we all got, you know, conquered by the crackers. So now you say that it was you, African, it was African Americans who enslaved us and stuff in Mexico. And you know, I mean, because that's the type of slavery when you don't get a salary, I mean, for us, it was like, okay, you get to go to their store and you get to pick up like, 3 or 4 items, depending on how much money or how much whatever. There is no currency. The feudal, it was as if it was feudalism in Mexico too. That's what they imposed with the colony. We was a colony. We was a virreinato, which was supposed to be like a branch of the king. But that was just a glorified. This is why they tell you that in Mexico we was sipping margaritas in the sun, and we were so while you was enslaved. It was. I want you to do. Since you're encouraging people to do research, I encourage you to look the definition and the not the definition, the blueprint of holistic genocide. Look at holistic genocide. Holistic, is from the food, which I talked about already at the beginning. Making the world acid, the balance and creating violence. Already, once you make the world acid, and that's what your ancestors in Africa, they was trying to regain the balance. They were trying to apply acupuncture to align the meridians too at the same time. So, okay, let's listen to what else.
Mentally challenged, because that's all our actions show. But we want to call ourselves kings and queens. What? You don't even know what you was doing when you was kings and queens. You're throwing people alligators. You're doing like Idi Amin, switching legs with arms. You're raping women. Have 1,000 concubines, having sex 1,000 times a day. Some of them concubines are people's wives. You walking through town, you telling me. Let me just put this in perspective. Let me think of somebody. I know y'all like Beyonce, Rihanna, and then you got Instagram models, right? All these Instagram models that y'all like looking at, right? This is what we got, right? So you're king, you're emperor, you run a whole empire, and you're going on a little campaign where you're going through town. You go through town and you're seeing all of these badass women in your kingdom. They married, but you're the emperor. And you're a narcissist. You can do whatever you want. You telling me you ain't like, yeah, I need her. That's somebody's daughter. You know what I'm saying? I need 2 of them. Bring them back to the temple. We have to clean them and make them ready for the divine ascension protocol. Guys feeling salty as hell. Husbands feeling salty as hell. What are they going to do? They say no, they're going to get eaten up by lions and hippos and alligators and shit. Now you're having sex with people's wives and children and stuff, having babies, and you tell me the babies and the parental husbands ain't going to get together. Come on, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. We was, like I said, it's Scorpio season. You know what I mean? Scorpio is secrets and rebirth and death and transformation and power. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm saying concubine because a concubine is specifically for, I don't even want to say wife material. I would say sex. It's particularly to have sex with, to bend to your every desire. That's what a lot of them had was concubines. And to be honest, because, they were sugar in the tank back then too. All concubines wasn't women. These guys was pulling dudes and little boys too. The homosexuality didn't start with Caucasian either. They didn't turn us into that. Oh yeah, and sex is definitely Scorpio. You know what I mean? So yeah, we detached from our godly nature. We got more and more lower vibration until a point came where we got rolled on hard. And then it becomes time, when power gets transferred, you got people that's like, well, they in power now, so I'm gonna serve them. So they go over there. And you by yourself. And either you're gonna live as a hermit on your own or you're gonna get murked because you ain't with status quo. So like I said, y'all need to look up a cat named Blackbeard. All right, he's online. Just Google him. I wouldn't say YouTube. I don't think YouTube likes him too much because when you tell too much truth on this thing, they start shutting you down. But get some more likes. I'm assuming I went off a little bit today, a little bit. Come on, where the thumbs at? Where the thumbs at? Let me get some thumbs. Where the thumbs at? Don't smash them thumbs. Where the thumbs at? Let me get them thumbs. Where the thumbs at? Them thumbs. Them thumbs. Them thumbs. Them thumbs. Them thumbs. All right, here we go. Yeah. So look up Blackbeard. Look him up. A lot of sources I have, I can't give their names because this is some real ass information. I ain't selling folks out, but that's his alias and he online. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he mind. I'm going to send people to them because he's done a great job. My queen came across him, looking for some new information for us to like listen to while we was riding and stuff in the car, and she found it, and he's spot on, bro. He got the history down, and I suggest that y'all check him out because he'll tell you books too. You know what I mean? In addition to that, he'll give you books, he'll give you reference, he'll give you names. Like one thing he taught me about, I didn't know this. They're called a Mamluk. What is it? It's a Mamluk. Yeah, Mamluk. Let's see.
I'm playing the whole thing, so
there's not
going to be like, oh, you didn't listen to the whole thing. You didn't out of context. You like.
Yeah, I want everybody to look up Mamluks. I'm gonna have to.
Let me look at the weather.
Some of this stuff.
I might go for a while. I don't know.
Hold on 1 second, y'all.
Wow. They say 69 degrees. You mean like it's going to be 75 degrees again. Yeah, they're keeping it hot until election day, November 3rd. That's his birthday. That's KT's birthday, I think. That's what he was saying.
All right, let's see. It's still
So he was
still
prompted because yes, Scorpio is the one with the
Windows.
secrets.
Here we go.
But
Okay. All right. So I want y'all to Google
sorry, not
Mamluk.
secret.
Mamluk.
This is
M-A-M-L-U-K. All
white propaganda.
right. This was a term that
This
I
is
found out about. You can get that
propaganda.
on.
He's just regurgitating.
And when you look them up, it says
regurgitating the same shit.
it's a term most commonly referring either to slave soldiers, freed slaves, Muslim converts assigned to military and administrative duties, and Muslim rulers of slave origins. Like I was saying, we made them slaves first, right? And then we started teaching them war tactics and everything like that. You see what I mean? And then sending them on campaigns to do the war's forces. We wouldn't have to go fight the war 1812, do all that stuff. They would be fighting on our behalf. They would die. They would get mutilated. They would get killed and all types of stuff. They come back. They get, venerated, everything like that. They get power. They get freed. Well, this Mamluk, that's what they are. That's the history right there showing you. Anytime you see them say,
let me play this again. What are you talking about? Look at this dictionary, a
all
white
right,
dictionary.
let's see, it's still
Let's listen to the white dictionary.
not live.
Oh, I think I rewind too much.
Windows. There we go. Okay. All right. So I want y'all to Google Mamluk, M-A-M-L-U-K. All right. This was a term that I found out about. You can get that on.
Google tell you what they wanted to know. Okay.
And when you look them up, it says it's a term most commonly referring either to slave soldiers, freed slaves, Muslim converts assigned to military and administrative duties, and Muslim rulers of slave origins, like I was saying.
What's the word? Mameluke? The Mamelukes? What are you talking about?
Windows.
I didn't understand why
There
you're
we
saying
go.
the whole thing.
Okay. All right. So I want y'all to Google Mamluk, M-A-M-L-U-K.
You got that? Because I cannot spell.
All right. This was a term that I found out about. You can get that on. And when you look them up, it says it's a term most commonly referring either to slave soldiers, freed slaves, Muslim converts assigned to military and administrative duties, and Muslim rulers of slave origins, like I was saying. We made them slaves first, right? And then we started teaching them war tactics and everything like that. You see what I mean? And then sending them on campaigns to do the war's forces. We wouldn't have to go fight the war 1812, do all that stuff. They would be fighting on our behalf. And they would die. They would get mutilated. They would get killed and all types of stuff. They come back. They get, venerated, everything like that. And they get power and they get freed. Well, this Mamluk, that's what they are. That's the history right there showing you. And anytime you see them say Muslims and things like that, they're referring to Islam. And it's always been a Christian versus Islam war. It's always been Moorish represents Islam or Hebrew and that whole thing. And you got Christianity and Rome and that whole thing. You go to the islands, the Dominican Republic, and you get beans and rice. It's called moros y Christos because black beans is white rice. So that's one of the terms he brought up. But like I said, he got a lot of terms. It's like I was saying. We made them slaves first, right? And then we started teaching them war tactics and everything like that. You see what I mean? And then sending them on campaigns to do the war's forces. We wouldn't have to go fight the war 1812 and do all that stuff. They would be fighting on.
Wait a minute. So the Assyrians, the one who became the arch nemesis of Kemet first, one of the most powerful. Right in recorded history. As far as we know, I think the Assyrians. So the Assyrians was not even in the picture, right? Okay.
On our behalf. And they would die. They would get mutilated. They would get killed and all types of stuff. They'd come back. They get, venerated and everything like that. And they get power and they get freed. Well, this Mamluk, that's what they are. That's the history right there showing you. And anytime you see them say Muslims and things like that, they're referring to Islam. And it's always been a Christian versus Islam war. It's always been Moorish represents Islam or Hebrew and that whole thing. And then you got Christianity and Rome and that whole thing. You go to the islands, the Dominican Republic, and you get beans and rice. It's called moros y Christos because black beans is white rice.
Yeah, moros y cristianos. So, but then again, they call us moros too, morenos. So, that's the same. That's the same thing. Come on. What game are we playing here? Moreno and more is the same thing.
So that's one of the terms he brought up. But like I said, he got a lot of terms, and he's real dope. He's real dope. So I'm here to help regenerate. I'm here to rebirth. I'm here to assist you with your knowledge to get a better grasp on things by knowing that, we got to stop blaming the boogeyman for the issues that are inherent within our own genes and our own DNA. And once we acknowledge these things and really make a commitment to make those changes, you'll start seeing the Training Wheels protocol unlock. You can access.
So I'm gonna go to my people in Mexico and say, oh, the boogeyman or whatever, that was in your head. It is in your head. It is us Mexicans who we are the devil. It just don't add up. Nothing you said. Yeah, I'm gonna go to our Peruvian brothers and sisters, from the Inca direct descendants of the Inca kings. I'm gonna tell them, just like, it was the Incas actually who destroyed themselves. I mean, I just
more your abilities and more your powers because you have fulfilled your karma. You know what I'm saying? Now, you're lucky you ain't swinging from a tree and getting castrated or thrown off the side of a boat. You ain't dealing with none of those things right now. I mean, now you're dealing with like 5G, you're dealing with televisions and all this other warfare, but at least you have awareness over everything, and you have an ability to separate yourself from it. Where back in the day, in the 50s and the 60s, there was no separation, So, yeah, man.
I mean, there was no separation. Then why do you think there was fighting for integration? I mean, okay. So, I mean, yeah, not to say that separation is different than integration and then segregation. I think he was talking about segregation, not separation. I don't know. He just really seemed very ignorant of sociology. He seemed like, he just, I mean, it just, this is what happened. This is what's happening in Mexico right now. We have been in power for 2 years. We are no longer the opposition. The people, is in charge right now and for the next 4 years. So, but we got stuck in the identity of being the opposition. So people like today, they're having a big protest. Right, when you won, we won, but we don't even know that we won, right? So I don't even know. I guess it said here is like 2 minutes left. Let's just play the whole thing.
It's profound. It's profound, especially with my father. He was at war, and because I had him and I had my mother, I had kind of a balance. So it was more of observation. I didn't have to come up in that type of world so tough, because I came up in such a healthy environment. I was able to just pay attention, observe, study, and kind of conclude my things on my own. And I come to the conclusion that love rules all, man. It's just love rules everything, man. You have to operate from your heart, right? You operate from your heart. That will help your mind grow. And then, because see, if you just operate from your mind, use your mind to control your heart, then your heart will act logically, and you'll.
And yes, I hear on Honduran people. They talk about that too. I heard Honduran, and Dr. Sebi, he was also a Hondureño. So yes, there's a lot of Central America is very Eurocentric too. Like Dominican Republic, like I say, they teach Spanish history. They teach about all the buildings, that all the cities, it was like, the greatness of the Spaniards, that when they did all the work, right? When they already got the greatest architects, and all that stuff, but the credit is for the whites. Okay, so yeah, in Honduras, I hear a lot of that, and there have been, according to everybody I ask, because there's something I'm trying to find out, what is happening to the Garifuna community in Honduras. The last report I heard was that they lost the final land that they had on the beach in this Arenales. This is Arenales. It was not even beaches. There was like reefs and stuff like that. That's where the Garifuna community was. I knew from years back that that they could not even speak their language no more. Cannot speak Garifuna language. It's a persecution, and supposedly, allegedly, at least the Garifunas I've spoken here, they really don't have any ill will against it's like they're almost happy. That's why they came to the United States. They're happy that that they're going to disappear, because to the Garifunas there over here is like a reminder of the blackness, and they go like, okay, so now we're going to be mixing with the whites and we're going to disappear. And they're okay with that. Cuckoo. So I don't know where Dr. Sebi, as far as I know, Dr. Sebi did not stand with any of this, whitewashing, with this, victim blaming. As far as I knew, Dr. Sebi, this is news to me. And if you are going to destroy your father's legacy, I advise you to be very careful, because you're going to get a lot of pushback from his disciples, me included.
You don't want that. You want more of your mind to work based on you using your heart, because it's going to condition your mind to work a certain way, which is high force and high vibration. Okay. So the website is souionicbotanicals.com. The number is 1-833 So Ionic. All right. We will be restocking at the top of the week. I should be putting a flyer up either today.
So yeah, give him a call. Give him a piece of your mind. I mean, like, it's a subject that needs to be treated very seriously. It cannot be just discussed casually. Oh, by the way, we are the devil. It is us. We corrupted the whites instead the other way around. And before the rise of the crackers, there was not even borders. There was not even borders. There was no conflicts. There was no nothing. It was like I said, the Assyrians, they had to come. Like I said, once those Africans who left hundreds of thousands of years became the Assyrians, because they lost, the soil was not sustaining, or they didn't know, or they forgot, what to eat, to sustain their melanin. It's just like people, they talk about, everybody talk about like a melanin, like if it's a pest, when melanin is very delicate. You need to feed your melanin. You need to, be in the sun. Need to be like a whole thing. It's actually pretty fragile. If you don't have the ingredients to manifest itself. So I don't know. I'm glad it's over this thing. I'm glad I did my part. I don't stay quiet with these atrocities. I just can't. I just can't stay quiet. I mean, I feel like this is very important to tease out, to be like, what are you actually really talking about, Mr. KT, or anybody, even. I mean, I was going to talk about the channels, but I want to finish it like this. Okay, so. Like you say, do your own research, but don't Google it. Don't Google it. I mean, if you Google something, rest assured that the first 5 pages is stuff that they have actually curated. They call it curated, the censorship. So for us to find, so I feel like Google, it says a lot about who the scholar who's promoting them.